Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from Delta CX. We're a full service CX and UX agency, and today is sample observational research number 7 as part of our micro lessons on observational research. Today I got lazy and put on my headphones, and I also lowered my chair, which is why I'm getting a lot more of my light. So I've got to fix my setup, everybody. This is a transitional day for me, but thank you for everybody putting up with what's going on here. I will start looking at the chat room and see who might be joining us. So this is, so what are we doing here? Just to catch everybody up, especially if you're new here, we are working on a long series of live streamed lessons on observational research. I am showing the way that I do things. So that means that in some cases, what I do is not necessarily what other people do. It may not be how you learn this by the book. It may be a little bit weird, etc. So just know that this is my style of doing things, and there are other styles, and it's worth learning those as well. Let's see. So we have been, so a couple of weeks ago, we made a research plan. Some of you have asked me, where are you getting these questions? Check the playlist, the micro lessons playlist. It's all there over on YouTube. We did we made a plan and a discussion guide, and we've been working with that. And then we've been doing a lot of sessions with people. So I don't know why I can't get my panel to come up. This is a transitional day, people. Thanks to the 3 people watching live. So we're doing this so that you can practice your note taking, and that way we will all get together this coming Monday, and we're going to go into Mural. You don't need a Mural account. It will be anonymous. And you will join me in working on an affinity diagram about what we all noticed from our observational research. Now, if you've watched sample observational research 1 through 6, you saw me typing up a storm. But thanks to that, my hand is killing me. That and a couple of ergonomic mistakes I made this week that are totally my own fault, and a little bit of stress manifesting itself in my left wrist. So, given that, I am not going to be typing up a storm for this one. Hello, Robert and Shannon and Charlene. If you want to see me typing up a storm, please watch sample observational research 1 through 6. For this one, I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to have Otter live transcribe everything we're saying, and I'm only going to take notes about things I'm seeing that I don't think will end up in the Otter transcript. So remember, you always have the option to not take copious notes during a session. You can take minimal notes about the things you notice, or the things you want to follow up and ask, and you can always have some sort of tool transcribe what the person said. Kayleen says, looks fine to me. Well, I've got a halo because I lowered my chair. All right, so let's bring in our special guest slash victim. Naz, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. And I'm going to leave the Otter on the screen for most people. When I am going to take notes, I will just flip over to my notes. But in general, I'm going to let Otter do the heavy work today because my hand is killing me. So from here, we are now pretending that we are starting. So everyone get into character. I'm probably have strawberries in my teeth. Hi, I'm Debbie from Delta CX. We're a research agency helping kitchen thingies to better know home cooks. Thank you so much for being part of our study. And thanks for signing that consent form earlier. I just want to double check that I have your permission to record our session and broadcast it and archive it on YouTube. Say yes.
Hi, Debbie. Yes, I give consent.
Thank you. So formal. So today will be pretty straightforward and shouldn't take more than an hour. I'll ask you some questions, we'll watch you cook a meal, and then I have some final questions. Please note that I'm hoping to hear you think out loud. Please tell me all of your thoughts and opinions, even if you think they're negative. We can't make things better without hearing where things are difficult or annoying. You can't give us too much information, and there are no wrong answers. And please note, I've got some notes, so you might see me looking at my notes, and you might hear me typing some notes, so I hope that won't bug you too much. So, starting from the questions, first, may I ask your age?
Sure. I'm 33.
Okay. You look great. May I ask who else in your household is living with you?
Yes, my partner Liz and our cat Theo.
Wonderful. Do you tend to cook mostly for yourself, or are you also cooking for Liz, or is she cooking for you?
Yeah, so today I'm cooking for myself. Typically for any like breakfast or brunch or lunch meals, I cook for myself. But for dinner, we co-cook or one of us cooks for each other.
Okay, so dinner time, you're probably sharing the same meal and you've cooked it together, or one person cooked it?
Hmm.
Okay, super. Do you or Liz follow a special diet or have food sensitivities or need to adjust foods for medical conditions?
No sensitivities, but we do go off and on with SECO, so calories in, calories out. So we'll count calories, typically in the spring and summer. Um, Come fall and winter, we really just don't care. But so right now we are counting.
Got it. It's spring already. Yeah, so that matches the next question I normally ask, which is if anybody in your house is following a weight loss or weight gain program. Would you see that as a weight loss program?
Yeah, it can be. I think we typically use it as that. So in general, people can use Seco for weight gain, but we hit the COVID pounds hard these last few months, so we're doing
Who
weight
hasn't?
loss.
Got it.
Yeah.
How many times per day would you say you are microwaving a pre-prepared meal?
Like a frozen meal or burrito or something.
Either a store-bought meal like that or just some leftovers that you have, like microwaving versus stopping and cooking something fresh.
Yeah, I would say at least once a day. So sometimes 1 to 2 times a day.
Okay. And so how many times a day would you say you're cooking something really fresh from scratch?
So I love breakfast brunch, and I typically cook that for myself, which is generally using fresh ingredients.
And then what about eating out or taking it in?
Yeah, we try to limit takeout to at least once a week, but sometimes we slide. But generally, like our favorite thing to get is hot chicken, Nashville hot chicken, or Indian food, and those are the meals we usually microwave when we're heating up takeout.
Okay, got it. Let's see. Who in the household tends to do the food shopping?
Um, for dinner, it just depends. We have a pretty equal standing relationship when it comes to doing tasks around the house. So sometimes I feel like cooking, and that means I'll do most of the chopping, and vice versa. So it's pretty equal.
Sounds beautiful. So how often are you going shopping at grocery stores or supermarkets?
We actually have not been in a grocery store for a while. We do what's called here through King Soopers click list, where we just get everything online, which actually helps us stay on top of budgeting. But then we drive 2 minutes to the store, and they deliver it in and put it in our trunk.
Okay, so it's like a buy online, pick up in the parking lot.
Right. You can do delivery, but it's just too close, and the fee is too much, so we just go pick it up.
Okay, so there's no extra fee for the pickup.
Yeah, but it's just a couple
Small.
dollars compared to like $15 for the delivery.
Okay, so have you been doing any delivery or mostly just the pickup?
Mostly, yeah, just pick up.
Okay. Have you tried any of the meal prep like box services like Blue Apron or HelloFresh where they send you the whole meal kit?
No, No, we were this close to doing it, but their HelloFresh, their coupon, something was wrong with it, and we tried it. We made a complaint, and we never tried it again. So
So they
uh,
lost a customer.
they did. But our best friends use it regularly, so we know it's good. But
Okay. But yet you haven't felt compelled to give it another try.
no, we're pretty frugally minded, so we like to, make sure that we're not spending a lot of money, and it's just kind of silly sometimes if we can cook things that are very similar to a meal prep service at home. Why spend those extra dollars?
Yeah, totally understandable. Would you say any of your shopping or cooking habits have changed because of the pandemic?
The click list, doing that, yeah. I used to. My Liz hates grocery shopping. Like, she hates it more than anything in this world. So I would go, and I really enjoy picking my produce and stuff. But that's the sacrifice I've made with doing the click list. But that's the biggest change, I would say. It's just that.
Have you been happy with the produce they tend to pick for you?
It's hit or miss, man.
Okay.
It's sometimes I'm just raged, but other times I'm okay with it.
Do you enjoy cooking or consider it a hobby?
Um, Depends on the day. I go through phases with baking, where I enjoy that, and then some days I'm like, no, I don't want to. I'm not into it. Um, so I would say intermittently it's a hobby, but not consistently.
I hope you don't mind me cycling back for a moment, but is there any particular reason why Liz hates food shopping more than she hates COVID and racism and all these other things?
Oh no, she hates racism more, I promise. Um, it's She's a very social person, but like, well, within reason.
Sure.
Um, but it's just like the overwhelm of mixing of energies, and the just being in a place where people are just trying to get in and get out. It's just too anxiety riddening for her.
Yeah, yeah, it can be overwhelming.
Hmm. Overwhelming is the best word that I could have used there. Yes.
Okay, great. Then I'm glad I heard you accurately. Let's see. Cooking classes. Have you ever taken any?
No, but it's on our to-do list.
Which ones do you think you want to take?
We have a local place here in town called Ginger and Baker, and it's a restaurant, but they also have this cool bakery and this kitchen for kitchen classes. So whenever, we're both vaccinated and feeling comfortable, we'll probably try to do that so we're moving to Atlanta this summer, and
Hmm.
we've got a list of all the things we want to do before we leave, and that's definitely up there.
Cool. Good luck with that. I hope you can make it happen. Do you tend to follow or use recipes or YouTubers or blogs or cooking shows?
Yeah, we turn to Pinterest a lot whenever we're making our grocery list, to find meals. And then if I'm in one of my baking phases, I turn to this one particular Instagrammer. But I actually got off of social media in August, so I actually haven't looked at her thing in a while. But I'll sometimes Google it and see if I can find some of her recipes for baked goods.
Is it too personal to ask why you left social media in August?
Yeah, it's not too personal. I still have all of my accounts, but I deleted everything from my phone in August. Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, with the exception of Snapchat because my circle is really small in there. I think it was just too much to take in with everything going on in the world, and at that point, Colorado was facing the biggest wildfire we'd ever seen, and soon to be the largest in our history. And it was just nonstop bad news, and it was just affecting my mental health.
I feel you there. Thanks for sharing that, by the way. Thinking back about your kitchen, do you or your house really, or your apartment, do you have any Internet of Things or smart home devices?
We have an Alexa that's been sitting in a box for about a year that we've never taken out, but we just don't really have an interest in it. I tend to like Google products. Maybe someday I'll have one of their smart speaker thingies, but not right now.
Okay. Just thinking quickly about some quick and easy meals that you like to make. You don't have to describe them in detail. Just tell me like the names of the dishes. What are some good go-to quick and easy meals?
Yeah, typical millennial. I love avocado toast. I love eggs, so a lot of dishes with eggs. So breakfast burritos are some of my go-tos. And then whenever Liz and I are cooking together, we do some like Greek influenced meals, or Mediterranean rather. Uh, yeah, that's what's coming to mind right now.
Okay.
We eat a lot of fish.
And that's quick and easy?
Yeah, I mean fish is doesn't take very long, so
Okay, super. You never know. Sometimes people have very complicated fish recipes, so I just like to check.
yeah.
So thinking about the opposite of that, tell me about one difficult meal that you tried to cook, something complex.
Hmm. Let's see. I think most recently we have this we have this Mediterranean diet cookbook, and we tried to follow the recipe for stuffed peppers, and it just got so complex that we ended up just kind of winging it and make it in our own. Um, I think Liz and I both can get frustrated very easily with complex recipes, and we didn't realize what we were getting ourselves into. So that one's the one that comes to mind most recently. Uh, we really do try to keep it simple around here because of that very fact of getting frustrated.
That makes sense. By stuffed peppers, do you mean like first you had to cook the rice and then you had to cook up some meat? Like what was stuffed inside the peppers?
Yeah, it was. Let's see. There were so first we had to shell out the bell pepper and then douse it in a little bit of olive oil, cook that for a while, and then rice. I think we used like a variation of a rice. And then all of these moving parts of like, oh, well, you need to bake these vegetables, and then it was just too much. Too
Got
many
it.
moving parts.
Too many moving parts, too many steps. How would you describe your mood usually when you're cooking?
Uh, it varies, but I would say predominantly it's like, let's just get this over with. Um, Funny enough, so Thanksgiving, this is our first Thanksgiving, just Liz and I, because of COVID. And I got up and made us like this crazy big Southern meal because I'm from Texas. Um, and I don't know where any of that came from, but I just felt inclined and I did it. And every once in a while, I'll get a little spring in my step and I'll do that. But
But in general, it sounds like you're maybe more interested in efficiency.
yep, yep. You'll see today with my meal I'm making.
Super. Thank you again for joining us. And when you're cooking, do you like to listen to music or watch videos? Anything going on in the background?
Oh, definitely. I love podcasts. I listen to a lot of YouTube videos relevant to the career path I'm moving toward, and then a lot of other random topics, but mostly podcasts.
Cool. Um, and for today's adventure, are you using a recipe?
Um, I'm using my own thing that I created. So I will say that I have traditionally cooked eggs on the stove, but I discovered there's these little packages called Just Crack an Egg, and you put it in the microwave, but it has like all these veggies and sometimes meat. And I was like, well, I can do that at home. Why have I been wasting so much time cooking eggs on the stove? And that's been my thing lately. Is I just been making my eggs in the microwave.
There you go. That would certainly be easy and quick. And
Yeah.
before we've gotten together today, did you do anything to prep any of your ingredients? Any steps we missed?
Yeah, I did a little bit of the chopping, and I just had my greens to chop, and then my cheese.
Okay, super. I'll probably ask you to angle your computer down just a little bit if you don't mind, because it's a great shot of you in the kitchen, but not a great shot of your workspace. Great, thanks. Yeah, or even up a little bit more. Okay, yeah. Oh my gosh, we're movable. Okay, super. Thank you. Well, in that
Yeah,
case,
I moved my table.
yeah, I would say if you don't have any questions for me, and you're welcome to ask any, let's get cooking.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Okay, so to start,
And of course,
I'll go
yes,
ahead
and you knew this already, but I should have said, please think out loud and tell me what you're doing and describe your steps. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Is that good? Okay. Yeah. So for my meal, so I'm making a breakfast burrito. I've already cut my jalapenos. I eat these hot and sweet jalapenos from Trader Joe's. They're delicious. I cut up some fresh tomatoes, and then I'm going to cut up a single slice of provolone, smoked provolone. It's my favorite cheese for breakfast burritos. And yeah. So I'm also gonna go ahead. I do like to have a breakfast sausage of sorts sometimes with my breakfast burrito, just on the side. So today I'm going to be cooking this. I'm not vegan, but I do eat vegan meals sometimes. So plant-based breakfast patty. I'll go ahead and get that rolling. It's my olive oil. Put that on a medium heat. I try to use just a small amount of olive oil just because the calories add up pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Is that a cast iron pan?
No, it's a Cellophane is the brand name, but just a nonstick.
Oh, right. I think it's Cephalon or something like that.
Cephalon, that's something like that. It's a gift from a dear friend. And then I get my greens out. I tend to do like a kale spinach mix typically. My cat usually loves to get a piece of spinach every day, so I will throw him a piece because I love him.
Is Theo in the room today?
He just ran up to the spinach. Here. Yeah. So I bunched these up like that and just cut whatever feels right in terms of thickness. And I'll go a little bit to the side. Okay. So this is already heating up a little bit. I'll go ahead and put this patty on. So to get started, I will measure. So I do one single egg, and that was great. Sometimes I get egg everywhere. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and tear my what is this called?
Oh, that's your scale.
My scale. Thank you. And then, so I use a single egg, and then I will use typically egg whites. The grocery store gave me the wrong thing, so this is like some weird real egg product. I think it's kind of like egg whites. Seems to have the same calorie count. So I do a serving, which ends up being 25 calories. And that's 46 grams. All right, we got it at 57, which is close enough.
And quick question, is all of this on your stove, or is your stove only part of this workspace? 'Cause, like, for example, is your scale on the stove?
It is, but I put this here because of the way that my kitchen is set up. I wanted the camera to be able to see. I usually have it over here on the counter, but the lighting gets funky and I didn't want to blind you all.
Oh, okay. So normally you would be working on the countertops, but just for the good film angle, you've put stuff on the stove today.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure that you could see what I had going on. So salt and pepper. I love a lot of pepper typically. And then I do a bit of paprika. And then I will go ahead and take a fork and just whisk this around. So this ends up being, I think, like 10 grams of protein. So I do try to aim at, I didn't say this earlier, but I do try to get a little bit more protein in my diet for building muscle.
Mm-hmm.
I just started working out again, so. And so with my provolone, I tend to just put like half of it because I like to put some cheese on the tortilla.
Okay.
That I'm gonna use. Put everything in.
Were those tomatoes or peppers? I forgot.
Tomatoes.
Okay, thanks.
They are cherry tomatoes. My cat is rolling around with this piece of spinach. Okay, so I've mixed these up pretty well. I don't know if you want to see that. And it just looks like green slime. And yeah, so what I'll do with this is I'll put it in the microwave. I'm going to just put it in for a minute. So I typically go 2 minutes, but I like to get it in there and then stir it up. And so I'll start with 1 minute.
All right.
Okay, so this is actually empty. I try to clean up as I go. Flip my pseudo sausage here. Okay, and then I like to get my tortilla ready while that's in the microwave. So I use these extreme wellness tortillas. They're only 50 calories a pop, and they're pretty high in fiber. And I love them. I'm addicted to them right now.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored.
Yeah.
Should I put that away?
Do you use an app or anything to track macros?
Yes, I do. I have been using Fitbit for almost 2 years now.
Which of the Fitbit app?
Yeah, I have a Fitbit watch, and I would say that this is probably my fourth one. It is not a buy it forever item. But I did go hard on my first one that I had, and then they sent me a new one, and then my next one just died out on me. So this is like my fourth Fitbit, but I love the interface. It is so easy to use. I track everything in the app whenever I am counting calories. I also have a Fitbit scale, so it's all connected. So when I'm really trying to be diligent, I have everything in one place.
Okay, so you microwaved the egg and veggie mixture, but now you're mixing it up.
Yeah, just mixing it up just so everything's a little bit more dispersed and not stuck at the bottom or wherever it may land. So I'm putting it back in for a minute. One. All right. This is getting I like not, especially if I'm eating vegan sausages, I like it to be crispy because I feel like it's weird if it's not. So the rest of my cheese, I just align it right here along with the tortilla. That helps to create like a nice cheesy bite. Like I don't know if it's any different, but like the egg melts the cheese onto the tortilla, and I like that. Yep. All right. Now we are just waiting on the microwave eggs. So years ago, I had a friend tell me that they microwave their eggs, and I just turned my nose up and I thought it was so weird. But this really has been a game changer for me. Because before it would take just way too long to get everything cooked and cleaned, and now it's just because I don't like to put my pans in the dishwasher, so I would just like have to do all the cleaning, and it was just a lot. So now it's just one single pan, and if I'm making sausage, and then the bowl goes right in the dishwasher.
Super.
So I put this on the tortilla. The bowl is super hot, so I'm in pain right now, but it's part of the job. Okay, so I spread this along here and try to get it on top of that cheese, or put the cheese on top of it. Sliding out. Make sure everything is off the bowl. Okay, so put a little bit of water in that to let that soak. So I love fresh basil. Basil is one of my favorite things to enjoy as a human being, and I have discovered this lightly dried fresh basil that doesn't go bad very quickly. So I put that on as many things as it makes sense to do so, including my breakfast burritos. So it's got that nice cheesy provolone and the tomato with the basil. It's just top notch flavor. I'll put this away, and then I will wrap my burrito. I do it differently every day because I'm always trying to figure out how the hell to wrap a burrito properly. Sometimes I just end up wrapping it and then putting it on the side so it just doesn't fall over. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And a lot of times I will also eat fruit with this meal, but today I'm not because I'm not as hungry. But this is kind of my go-to.
Well, thank you so much for making your breakfast burrito, I think for lunch. If it's, I think it's 11 or 12 noon there.
Yeah, it's like noon, but I tend to, like I said, I love breakfast brunch food, so I'll make it always.
Great, thanks.
Anytime.
So normally at this point, I ask if you tend to photograph your meals and share them on social media. I know you're taking a bit of a social media break, but do you tend to photograph some of your cooking adventures and share them with friends?
Whenever I was on Instagram, if I were making the baked goods that was using the recipe of the person I was describing earlier, I would. Now, like I said, I still have Snapchat, so sometimes with my best friends I'll share it, but yeah, it's a weird thing to do sometimes in my mind, but I also feel inclined to do it because if something looks delicious, I want them to see it.
We're all doing it. Do you have a dream kitchen smart home appliance? Something that might do something for you?
You know what? Something that would blend my like so since I do on and off do calorie counting, like a blend of the scale and the app that I use, where I'm not having to manually put in 46 grams or 30 grams. Just having to try to like estimate that. So if there was like some sort of um, I don't know, scale calorie tracker thing, that would be cool.
So, if I'm hearing you correctly, and I might not be, it sounds like you'd want the app to talk to the scale so that you could tell the app, now I'm measuring out the egg whites. The app would see that you put in 46 grams of them, and then the app would appropriately track the calories and macros related to that.
Right. So the Fitbit app is great. I do love it. But if like I haven't eaten an item before, it can be a little tedious because the egg whites that's saved into my app. And honestly, they don't. It's one thing that is lacking from that app is this like favorites thing. But they do save recent items. So if I'm cooking this a lot in a week, then that's an easy thing for me to put in. But say I haven't cooked this in a couple weeks and I've, entered a lot of other items, then the egg whites, I have to search through the database again and find it, and it can be tedious.
I'm sorry, I'm sneezing. Excuse me, I think it's turning to spring here. I'm so sorry. Can you think of any other dream smart home appliances you might that might help your world be better, faster, easier?
Hmm.
It's optional.
Honestly, yeah, I don't know. We live in an apartment and it's a rental, and the dishwasher is probably uh, as old as I am, and so we basically just use it for a sanitation machine. So we'll wash beforehand and then put it in. So just a working dishwasher that, like, I didn't have to wash the dishes beforehand. That would be ideal.
Got it. Yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but your kitchen cabinets looked a little old-fashioned.
Yeah, we are in like a 70s apartment, but the rent is decent for the area. So,
Right. That's what matters. The 70s cabinets, they're just a conversational piece.
yeah.
If you had a magic wand and you could change or improve anything about your meal preparation, what would you improve?
A magic wand?
Yes.
Ooh. I would probably change my attitude about cooking because like I said, inconsistently do enjoy it. But if I could just have that love for it all the time, then I feel like Liz and I would save a lot of money on getting takeout when we shouldn't be. Um, we've even created actually a whiteboard that is tracking our workouts so that if we work out 3 times in a week, we do get to order takeout on Fridays. So yeah, I would change my attitude so I wouldn't have to like create all this discipline around it.
Well, what do you think it would take for you and Liz to improve your attitude about cooking? Like, have you figured out where your attitude's going wrong and how you can improve it?
Um, yeah. I mean, I think we both just get to the end of the day and we feel tired, and the easy thing to do is like, I mean, especially because we live in an apartment that's next to campus, and so there's a lot of restaurants. It's easy to just walk to a restaurant. I think if we didn't feel so tired, or it's like it's feeling of dread. So I don't know what we can do to get rid of that, but we talk about it.
Okay, well, I don't want to turn this into a psychoanalysis session, so I
Yeah.
apologize if that was too deep. I just didn't know if there was something less deep that would help your cooking attitude. Is there anything else about your cooking or meal process that we didn't cover that you'd like to share?
I don't think so.
Sorry, I tried to move something with my left hand and that hurt. Your answer was fine. That was not a face I was making at you. Well, in that case, we might be done. Thank you so much. That would be our time together. Thanks for being a part of our study. It was great to learn more about how you tend to cook meals at home. My assistant will email you in the next few days to send you your $100 Kitchen Thingies gift card, which doesn't exist. Do you have any last questions for me?
I do not. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you again for joining. And I'm going to take you off the screen and debrief with everybody in the chat room. You can sneak into the YouTube chat room if you want. Thank you so much, Naz, for that. It looked delicious. You're hired. And let's see, people in the chat room, any comments or questions about today's adventure, especially since it was Look Ma, No Hands. I didn't type a damn thing. And that was just Otter doing its best to transcribe. I find it's about 92% accurate. You know, you can't 100% go by it, but you can certainly use it for reference or to remind you of something you want to go back and listen to again. And Kayleen is reminding us that Steve Portugal said that he likes to ask questions at the end of interviews like, anything about the cooking process you want us to know? I sometimes do ask a question like that. I'll say, you know, is there anything you thought we might cover today but we didn't talk about it and you'd like to share it? And I find sometimes people will say, and you go, okay, no problem. And sometimes they come up with something amazing. So again, it's just, you know, my policy, because we talked about it when we planned our discussion guide. I usually try to ask the same question a few ways towards the end there. So anything you would do different, anything you would do better, can you think of something else that might improve this? You know, I'm just digging, you know, in this case I dug a little too much because it turned out that what would make something better for her was maybe more emotional or personal. My company, my fake company probably can't solve that. But I wanted to dig a little bit to see if it was something that we could possibly solve or improve. Kayleen says, anything you noticed that wasn't transcribed? I was not watching Otter as closely because I was watching the chat room to see what you are all saying, since I didn't get to do that on the previous ones. So, you know, so there's some wrong things here. Like I said, thanks for joining, and it said thank you for joy. Another nice thing about Otter is that it'll record the audio, so you can actually play back the audio and watch the transcription. You can edit it. But again, in our case, we would hypothetically not just want to listen to the audio and look at the transcript. You would want to watch the video again because this is observational study. And so we wanted to make sure we were looking at things that this person was doing. You know, we were noticing that she's right-handed. We were noticing, talking to her about her non-stick pan. We learned a little bit about the layout of her kitchen and some of the downsides to the apartment that she's living in. So some of these things we spoke about, and some of these things you just want to watch, but she did a really good job telling us all of her steps. We didn't see her microwave. That was out of camera view, but she gave us a good idea of what she was doing. So I think, you know, there was not as much to get from the observing in this one as maybe some others where people didn't speak as much, but we'll see what you all come up with when we do the diagram on Monday. Kayleen says, what if the product creates delight? I think you're joking with me because you wrote tildes, but I can't hear you from here, so I don't know if you're being fun and silly or something else. But, you know, I'm not sure that for this particular participant that cooking and delight totally go together. She seemed very focused on efficiency and let's get this done already and give me my life back. And, you know, ain't got time for that. Sujeesh says, can we consider she was not too happy to cook by her body language? I didn't see anything in her body language that I thought said she was unhappy to be cooking. I thought she had good posture. Her shoulders seemed square and open. She didn't seem like closed or hunched or things that sometimes can make people look unconfident or insecure. Again, I'm not a qualified psychologist. But I didn't see anything about her body language that seemed closed or negative to me. But she was open in her language, saying like, yeah, I don't, there's things here that I don't enjoy. And she would soften that by smiling. I think the most smiles we got from her were when she talked about things she didn't like. So, she gave us a nice balance of talking about something negative, but giving us a smile. But that doesn't take away from the fact that she was talking about something she doesn't like or doesn't enjoy or doesn't prefer or doesn't always go well for her. So we can notice that, but I don't want to read too much into people's body language. I'll roll my chair back a little bit because I'm tethered with that. If we're talking to someone and they're doing this, we can try to read into some body language. If we're good at reading that, we can say this appears to be closed. We can say their face appears to be severe or negative or grumpy or whatever. But I don't know if it's because I'm a musician, but I tend to listen more to voice. I listen for tone of voice. I listen for stress in people's voice. I listen for the sighing. I listen for hesitations. I listen for where people stop and think about an answer, and when they were really ready quickly with an answer because it was so easy and decisive and clear for them. Those are some of the things that I look for, but of course not all of that makes it into my mural board, not sponsored or anything else. I mean, you can't, I can't design a product out of Naz's lovely smile. So we really have to look for things that are behaviors and needs and tasks, and how can we make her tasks easier. And I remember the first time I microwaved eggs in the 80s, and I said, oh, that tastes like McDonald's eggs, and I never did it again. So you got to really like microwaved eggs, everybody. Let's see. Any other comments or questions from the chat room? Because we do have a little bit more time if you want to spend it talking about this. Otherwise, remember, our last cook, unless Dimitris begs, will be Randy on Sunday. Some of you know Randy Bapst from UX Stars, from LinkedIn, or his book club. So some of you know him, and supposedly he is cooking, and I am under the impression it might be bacon and eggs. And so we will accidentally have done some rather thorough research on people cooking eggs. We will have had 2 pastas and 6 eggs. So now it says it doesn't taste like McDonald's, I promise. Well, okay, I believe you. So none of my equipment is working today. So in order for me to put stuff on the screen, I'm going to have to do it manually. So where is it? So give me 1 second no, that's the wrong one. Who knows where I've set anything in my system today? Press 4. So just a reminder, hi smiley face. So that's from Kayleen. So just a reminder, please subscribe here on the YouTube channel. Ring that bell so you know when we're live. And by the way, I want to thank all of you because according to my YouTube statistics, 70% of you watching are subscribed. So I'm only talking to 30% of you. Of course, empathize with the like button and let the algorithm know this was pretty cool. Remember, it is part of a larger series, so please check the micro lessons playlist for the others in the matching set. You can join our Slack channel, which is totally free. Actually, it's a whole workspace, not just a channel. deltacx.link/join Slack. And of course, we do, since I've turned off all the YouTube ads and I turned down sponsorships for this show, I'm just going by anything y'all feel like giving in the super chats, super stickers, tip jar, or the new memberships, which start at $3 a month. So, and I just bought a smoked provolone, thanks to all of you. So I was loving the smoked provolone there. I posted it to Slack and y'all thought it was a pear. It is a smoked provolone, but it is Italian. I see Naz typing. Maybe she's joining us in the chat room. Kayleen's like, I should have made pasta. Kayleen, don't worry about it. You made an amazing egg and tomato extravaganza. Yeah, Naz says smoked provolone for the win. For sure. It's delicious. They smoke lots of wacky things here. I got smoked ricotta. That was weird. It's like, what do you do with this? I don't know, just like can't go wrong. So can't go too wrong with Italian cheese, y'all. So any other thoughts or questions about today's session before we wrap up? And again, we're going to do a special Sunday session where we'll have Randy on, and then get your, watch these sessions if you can make time. Take your notes, because Monday we're all going to meet in that mural room. You can be your anonymous animal. You don't need a mural account. And we will work on that board. That will be Monday. And remember, I changed my clocks this weekend. So Monday, I'm back to the same old time you're used to me being at, those of you who changed their clocks previously. So America, Canada, people west of me, please check 6:30 p.m. Italy for next week. It's going to go back to the old time, 12:30 Eastern time, 9:30 a.m. California and Portland and Seattle time. So just a heads up there, we're going to be back to our old times, because we do daylight savings time here, but at a different time than you do. Shannon says, I got bacon smoked salt in Savannah, Georgia. That's like bacon as an adjective. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Bacon here is weird. It's more pancetta, but it's pretty neat. Can't go wrong. You're all coming to visit next year. Remember, start saving up now. I guess we'll wrap up. I don't see too many comments or questions in the chat room, so we will wrap up, which means I have to find my closing video among all this mess. Thank you for the floating emojis from Tango. Shannon says, good on salmon. I wouldn't know. I'm deathly allergic to fish. I have weird allergies. Kayleen says, I talk more during the task portion of the observation than you do. I think it's because my participants usually don't know what to do at a certain point. Hopefully not just because I talk over them. Yeah, I try not to say too much when I'm observing. If there seems to be a lull, I might remind someone to keep thinking or talking out loud, but Naz was really good with that. She really constantly told us what she was doing and why, so I didn't have to say, and what are you doing right now? Or why are you doing that? We poked her a little bit about what kind of pan she had or why she was working on her stove, which turned out to not be her regular habit. So it's a good idea to chase some of these things. You don't have to necessarily ask while they're cooking. It could be a post interview question. We had time. She probably had another 15 minutes on the clock, so you would have had time to ask that after. You didn't have to ask it during. So I try to ask very little during, because I want to make sure I'm watching people and that they're doing their normal thing, as close to their normal thing as possible. So good point, Kayleen. I guess that's it. And happy to see y'all. Thanks for the 8 or so people that joined us live on a Friday. Hope everybody has a good, safe, happy weekend with nice weather. Naz, thank you again. I think you finished your breakfast. She's waving. I can't believe you. It's done? You finished it? No, I don't know. I can't hear you. I muted your microphone. I'm evil. I just see you smiling. So thanks to everybody. See you Sunday. And if not Sunday, see you Monday, when we're going to get all this stuff on a mural board and figure out our opportunities and our themes and our patterns. So I'm going to play us out of here, but thanks again to Naz, and see everybody possibly Sunday. Bye.
Delta CX, available for CX and UX consulting, projects, and training. Contact us for a free consultation.